Okay, in this video we are going to go through a couple of problems that we've seen before, but the skills might be a little bit rusty from break. So you should be following along in your packet with the problems that I solve, and then you're going to be solving a couple of problems on your own. So we're going to do 2 together each time, and then you're going to do 3 on your own. So let's look at question number 1. I've got -2 and then parentheses. When I see a number and then parentheses, what operation is in between this number and the parentheses? Great, there's no plus sign or minus sign or dividing sign. We are multiplying our terms that are next to each other when you've got a term or a number and then parentheses. So this is telling me that I need to multiply this too. Okay, I'm going to keep going, plus 8p, and then I've got another set of parentheses. So when I see sets of parentheses, this tells me that I need to distribute. Okay, so I'm going to be distributing my -2 inside parentheses to both terms on the inside. I'm going to do the -2 first. So -2 times p will give me a -2p. -2 times 3 will give me a -6. Now I'm going to copy down the rest of this problem exactly like it is. Plus 8p parentheses p plus 7. Okay, before I combine any other terms, because in between these terms I've got addition and subtraction, I've got to deal with the multiplication first. And we know that I have multiplication when I see a number and then parentheses. So now I've got to distribute my 8p. So 8p is going to go to the first term p inside parentheses, and then to the 7. I'm going to bring down the terms that aren't being affected first, so this -2p minus 6. Okay, then I've got 8p times p, which will give me a positive 8p. Since I've got 2 of them, and they're being multiplied, my exponent will be a 2. Okay, then I'm going to distribute this 8p to my 7. So 8p times 7, well, 8 times 7 I know is 56. It's going to be a positive since both of these numbers are positive. And my p is just going to be added on to the end, plus 56p. Is this expression completely simplified? Do I have any terms that I can combine? Yeah, I've got this 56p and my -2p. Since they're different signs, I'm going to subtract them, keeping the sign of the larger number of this 56. So 56 minus 2 will give me a 54p. And then I'm going to bring down the rest of my terms, -6 plus 8p squared. Do I have any other terms that I can combine? Nope, none of them are like terms. This one has a p raised to the power of 2, no p, and just 1p. So I'm going to leave my answer just as it is. Okay, let's look at number 2. You're going to do a little bit more of the heavy lifting for this one. When I see a number and then parentheses, what operation is in between? Correct, multiplication. So I'm going to be multiplying this -2 with what terms? Okay, my -2 is going to be distributed to the x and to the 10. -2 times x will give me a -2x. -2 times a positive 10 will give me -20. Fantastic. Okay, let's bring down the rest of this equation. So -7 parentheses -8 plus 7x. Okay, what am I going to do next? If you said distribute this -7, you are correct. So I'm going to bring down the terms that aren't being affected, my -2x minus 20. And now I'm going to distribute out this 7. I'm going to do that in a different color. So -7 is being multiplied with -8. -7 times -8 gives me a positive 56. If you're messing up the signs, right now. So let's say you said a negative 56, or you were not sure. Go to your multiplication note card, where it tells you the signs for when you multiply a negative times a negative, positive times a positive, etc. Okay, so I distributed the negative 7 to the negative 8. Now I'm going to distribute negative 7 times a positive 7x. A negative times a positive gives me a negative, that's right. 7 times 7 will give me 49, and then my x will be tacked on at the end. Are there any terms that I can combine, or am I done simplifying? Okay, I've got some terms I can combine. Let's look at my x's first. So negative 2x and a negative 49x. Are these the same signs or different signs? Same sign. So I'm going to add the two together and keep the sign of a negative. So negative 2 plus a negative 49x will give me a negative 51x. Okay, I've still got these two terms that I can combine, a negative 20 and a positive 56. You can do that one on your own. Think, are they the same sign or different signs? Am I going to have more pluses or more minuses? I'm going to have more pluses, so my sign will be positive. When I subtract these two numbers, 56 minus 20, I'll end up at 36. Can I combine these two terms together? No, they are not like terms. Okay, in Edpuzzle on your own, I would like you to simplify the next 3 problems in order, and you are going to choose your answer from the answer choices offered to you. Okay, let's go along to the back page, looking at number 6. So I'm finding each product, meaning that, well, what operation is in between this term in parentheses and this term in parentheses? Multiplication, that's right. So I've got to multiply these two terms together. And to do that, I have to distribute each term in the first set to each term in the second set of parentheses. So this 2p has to be distributed to both terms in my second set of parentheses. It's got to go to 6p, and it also has to go to negative 1. So let's multiply those together first. 2p times 6p will give me what? Wonderful. I'll have 12, so 2 times 6 will give me 12. And then p times p will give me p to the power of 2. Okay, let's look at the next one. 2p times a negative 1 will give me what? Wonderful. Negative 2p. Okay, we're halfway there with the distribution. So I've finished distributing this 2p. I'm done with it. Let's look at this negative 7. So my negative 7 has to go to both terms in parentheses. So negative 7 times 6p will give me what? Wonderful, a negative 42p. And negative 7 times negative 1 will give me a positive 7. Okay, am I done? No, I've got some terms I can combine. I can combine those two p terms. So my p squared doesn't have anything to combine with. It's going to stay the same, 12p to the power of 2. Negative 2p minus 42p will give me what? Negative 44p. And then at the end, this plus 7 has nothing to combine with. It's going to stay exactly like it is. Okay, let's look at number 7, and then you'll try some on your own. So this x minus 1, and 7x plus minus 3, what operation is in between the two? Multiplication, that's right. So I'm going to take x, and where does it need to go? To the 7x and to the negative 3. One thing to clarify is this x is never going to just be distributed to this 1 because they're in parentheses with each other. You're always distributing to the other set of parentheses. Okay, go ahead and multiply these first two sets together. When you multiply x times 7x and x times negative 3, what are you going to end up with? Okay, x times 7x will give you a 7x to the power of 2. And x times negative 3 will give you a negative 3x. Let's keep going. Now what do I need to do? Right, I'm going to multiply this negative 1 with my terms on the other set. So this negative 1 goes to 7x, negative 1 to a negative 3. Go ahead and multiply these two terms with negative 1. What are you going to end up with? Negative 1 times 7x will give me a negative 7x. And negative 1 times negative 3 will give me a positive 3. Okay, am I done with this problem? Nope, I've got some terms that I can combine. Which terms can I combine in this problem? Great. My negative 3x and my negative 7x have the same like terms, same variable, same exponent, so I can combine them. 7x squared will stay the same. Negative 3x minus 7x will give me a negative 10x, and then I'll have a plus 3 in the end. Okay, go ahead and give these three problems a try. Check your answers on Edpuzzle. Okay. We're going to move into some equation solving. Let's look at numbers 11 and 12, and then you'll be able to solve some on your own. So for number 11, if you want to take a look at your solving equations note cards, you are more than welcome to. Our first step when we're solving an equation is going to be to draw that wall. Okay, second step is I want to distribute or combine any terms that I can on this side. Do I have any distribution? Nope. There's no parentheses or a number next to parentheses. So I'm just asking myself, are there any terms that I can combine on this side of my equals sign? And the answer is yeah. I've got 7b minus 3b. These are like terms. So I'm going to simplify that first. 7b minus 3b is going to give me a positive 4b. And I'm going to keep that 6 out in front, which is equal to a negative 18. Okay, my next step would be to see if to subtract the smaller variable term, but in this case I only have one variable term, so I can ignore that step. Now I'm going to subtract any numbers that are being added or subtracted to b. So what's confusing here is that my 4b comes second, and it's being added to this 6. So I've got 6 plus 4b. I want to get rid of the number that's not attached to b right now. So I want to get rid of this 6. How am I going to make this 6 equal to 0 and get rid of it completely on this side? One thing you can think about is this is a positive 6, so to get rid of it, you need to subtract 6 from both sides. So I'm going to subtract 6 over here as well. Okay, when I do that, my 6's are going to cancel out. I'm going to be left with just a 4b. Negative 18 minus 6 will give me what? Fantastic, a negative 24. My last step in getting b by itself is to do what? Great, divide by 4 on both sides. So that in the end, b, so I'm just going to be left with b over here, is equal to negative 24 divided by 4 will give me a negative 6. Okay, let's take a look at this one. I want you to solve this one on your own. I think you can do it without me guiding you through, and we'll come back and check our work together. Okay, so for number 12, I'm going to draw that wall. I'm going to look similar steps to over here. I'm going to see if I can combine any terms since I don't have any distribution. So I've got a 1 and a plus 5 over here. I can combine these two terms. 1 plus 5 will give me 6. minus 5n, and that's equal to 16. From here, very similar to last time. Unfortunately, this 6 is out in front, which is what is kind of confusing about this problem. To get rid of this 6, since it is a positive 6, I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. So 16 minus 6 will give me 10, and that's equal to, you've got to keep the sign in front of that 5, a negative 5n. My last step is going to be to divide by a negative 5 on both sides. 10 divided by negative 5 will give me a negative 2, and that's equal to n. Go ahead and on your own, you're going to solve through number 15. So you're going to stop at number 16. Okay, if you've made it to number 15, that means I think you are up to the challenge of going through these last 5 problems on your own. It's got a combination of distribution and solving equations, but I think you can do all of these problems without a lot of help. Use your note card, and you can stop and check your work as you go along. I'm going to stagger the problems so that you can check your work and then see if you got it right before you move on to the next one. Go ahead and finish that up towards the middle of class.